Report shows silver met its match long way down. This is shocking, especially as we've been so excited this past week, these past 2 weeks of silver going up and up. The jobs report shows manufacturing is at 50.3, which means the U.S. economy is barely expanding. That's a report that we really need to hone in on. I'm going to break this down for you. Anything below 50 is a sign of our economy contracting. We don't want contraction. We want expansion. This is bad news. It's bad news for the interest rate. It's bad news for interest rate cuts because the Fed cannot take the risk on such a small fraction of expansion. That's the bad news. Here's the good news. This is from Precious Metals Review. And this says, silver benefiting from other metals' strength. This is great because this is really what we want. Not so much just one metal. Let me try to get this open for you. Not just one metal showing a rise. Oh, maybe I'm not going to be able to get it open. Maybe not. Can't do it. Maybe not just a one metal showing an increase in value. There it is. But all metals, right? Like the tide should raise everything. I just like to see it better in the camera when I hold it up like that. So this is exactly what we want. And this article states, silver benefiting from other metal strength. The price of silver rose about $27 last week after having struggled relatively to gold over the past 2 months. Silver appears to have benefited from both the investment, consumer, and industrial demand sectors, each making up 50% of total silver demand. The copper price has risen steadily thanks to concerns over tightening supply. This is where that tide brings everything up. Where copper goes, silver tends to follow. I'm going to say that again. Where copper goes, silver tends to follow. We're always focusing on gold, but there's other metals that bring silver up. Silver is a higher beta commodity than gold. So if retail investors show more interest as ETF holdings rise, then it could outperform gold. And we've heard this often lately, that silver, although it lags, although it can remain stagnant, this metal I'm holding in my hand, although it can remain stagnant for stretches of time, at the end of the day, when we really look back in hindsight and we crunch numbers, silver often outperforms gold. Let's continue. The article says, additionally, and in contrast to the gold market, silver investors re-entered the market for ETFs with 10.7 MOZ of inflows in the last fortnight, taking total silver ETF holdings 3% higher year to date at 724. Industrial demand for silver is forecast to grow this year owing to the expectation that solar installations in China and other markets will maintain their pace. Now, I can't see how China can continue doing what it's been doing the past year, as we see just literally this week and last week with China struggling over the same struggles we have with commercial real estate and the yuan dropping also. So this article states that if China continues with its solar installations, that's good for silver here. I can't imagine China continuing. Let's keep going. Furthermore, recent strong manufacturing data from the U.S. and China has improved optimism over global demand for industrial commodities. Well, there certainly is global demand for silver, and even though China is going through its own issues, here in the United States, there's absolutely strong demand in electric vehicles and in solar for silver, and that isn't going to go away anytime soon. This article says by the end of Friday's trading, the silver price stood at a 2-year high of $27. We've even beat that today. We at the time of this recording, we've even beaten that. In fact, this is another article on stockhead.com that says, has the moment finally arrived for the silver squeeze? Has the moment finally arrived? And this came out today. By the way, if you're enjoying this discussion, if this is helpful to you, please hit the like button. Help us get this information out there. Hit subscribe, and let's get this information out there. It's really important. This article says, long known as gold's poor cousin. I like that. Silver, gold's poor cousin. Long known as gold's poor cousin, silver has responded to a run in precious metals inspired by geopolitical uncertainty, absolutely, inflation, yes, and hopes of interest rate cuts. Those three, that's the trifecta that we're living through right now. geopolitical uncertainty for sure in many places. Inflation is sticky and we can't get it to move, and hopes of interest rate cuts. It's up 10% in just a week, this article says, rising from $24 to $27, and today it's even above that. This article says silver, of course, is following gold hit its all-time highs. Silver has for years been the province of internet weirdos. Hey, I don't know who this author thinks he is, calling us weirdos. The Silver Squeeze subreddit has over 12,000 members, and there's no shortage of Twitter experts with ambitious claims on how high the commodity can rise. Hashtag silver will go to $50 this year. These are just examples of of things that are posted. Many silver optimists are even wilder. The metal hit records of $48 over a decade ago, but has been increasingly disconnected from its brother, the gold bar, in recent years. That's absolutely true. Silver, this author is a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but silver has been stagnant for quite some time. And that's why I and many of us in the silver stacking community are so enthusiastic about what silver is doing now. Let's keep going. With prices in the doldrums, there has been sparingly little silver exposure on the ASX outside of market giant South 32 and its high-grade Cannington mine in North Queensland. According to Adriatic Metals, silver dominated its prices over the past 2 weeks. In the first half of 2023, it hit a historic level of its silver to gold ratio. Now, I don't specifically follow silver to gold ratio when I stack, and I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a silver stacker. I follow the spot price, and I know that there are many silver stackers that live and die by the silver to gold ratio. They literally don't even look at the spot price. They don't. They just follow that ratio, and that's it. I'm not making a judgment either way. They're perfectly content, and I think they're actually less frustrated following the silver to gold ratio rather than the spot price, because the spot price just can be so stagnant and really make us feel like nothing is moving, unless things like these past 2 weeks occur, which are very exciting, and it has not happened in a long time. This article mirrors the other article I started this video with, saying that silver is in high demand and it's in short supply. Historically, a precious metal used as a more affordable alternative to gold as a store of wealth, silver is increasingly becoming an industrial metal. As 2024 plays out, we have two things that are certain for the rest of 2024. The first is that this economy is going to be shaken when this commercial real estate issue rears its ugly head. That is going to shake, and the word shake is really saying this lightly. It's going to shake regional banks to the core, because all of those loans are tied in with regional banks. Credit is going to be a real issue, because credit and just getting loans in general is going to be an issue, because everyday people who frequent these regional banks, they're not going to be able to take out loans. People's credit cards are a serious issue. So that's the first thing that we could see for certain as 2024 rolls out. The other is that silver is going to increasingly be in high demand as an industrial metal. And many argue that that's why they only stack silver, and they really do not focus on stacking gold at all, because they feel like silver will always be a demand, because it always has that industrial place to it, where gold does not. Gold is simply beautiful, and we stack it because we're silly humans, and we just think that it's so precious and important. So silver is going to continue to be in high demand and in short supply. That's for certain for 2024. This article says, according to the Silver Institute, industrial demand accounted for 45% of silver demand by 2022, with a massive rise in use in photovoltaic solar cells and fast chargers for electric vehicles, offsetting a collapse in silver use in photographic film. Now, major weaknesses in silver supply are emerging, this author says, with big deficits growing since 2020. If you look at the physical inventories being held in the LBMA vaults, that's been shrinking. It's now at its lowest level in history. Now, that's bad news for industry, but it's good news for us because that means that the price is going to increase. I'm going to say that again. As we hear articles, and there are many authors that state this, many researchers and many advocates regarding the demand versus supply of silver, demand versus supply of silver. They note that the LBMA vaults are shrinking. If you want more of that, if like really get in the weeds of that, you have to check out Silver Slayer. He knows all of that. I don't know how to go deep into the weeds with that. I do know that I've been stacking silver for a long time, and I know that these reports that come out, like the jobs report that came out last week, the report on the real estate market, and the report on manufacturing, all of those reports really give us a clue about where silver is going, and specifically how the Fed is going to respond. Because when the Fed responds, markets listen. Just look at what happened with Wall Street when the Fed made their announcement that we will have 3 rate cuts over the course of 2024. Wall Street jumped on it immediately. I mean, they hang on every word of Jerome Powell, and that directly impacts what we're dealing with the silver price. Then I started this video by mentioning those 3, the 3 components, right, of that trifecta: geopolitical uncertainty, inflation, and interest rate cuts. Those are the 3. Those are the 3. If you really wonder where spot price is going, don't ask your fellow silver stacker like me. Don't ask your silver dealer. Just look at the reports that are coming out and look at how history shows us silver absolutely follows the pattern through history. When gold shot up a month ago, everyone was wondering what's happening with silver, and those of us who have been stacking silver for a long time, we just waited it out because we know silver just takes a bit of time, and then it always follows gold. And now we see that it absolutely followed its historical trend, and it's following gold, and we're up in this nice, strong silver price.